as you
Welcome
guys.
back to this
Oh,
week's episode.
God damn it.
Yeah, go on.
Last week, we ended in the tavern. We were all talking to people and we didn't continue our conversations because we were tired. Now we're back in action, ready to talk to all of these people. Athen is giving a foot rub to Timon.
What?
Nice.
That's all I got.
This is good. Uh, Aside from that last part, uh, pretty spot on. You had made your way to Akros, following your exploits through the Catakathon Mountains, and you are currently at a tavern called the Satyr's Half Horn, which is historically a tavern slash inn within the polis of Akros that serves more to the outsider clientele, especially busy around the Aroan Games times, as there are people who come from all over Theros to see the exploits of Acroan soldiers and other competitors in the games. Um, some satyrs historically come here and start partying during the Aroan Games and don't stop until the start of the next one, at which point they then start partying again. Um, you had come into here, met Dradosvia, the innkeeper, who also goes by Trophy, should you not wish to pronounce that mouthful of a name.
Nice.
Athen, I believe you are sharing some stories of your exploits with your fellow Oramai soldier, Photis.
Yes.
A couple other Croans are sitting in the tavern itself, but Takik and Draki sort of wandered over to some of the other clientele. One of
What?
which, yeah,
Sorry, I just got a notification on my phone that just says Discord now. And there's no other text. Like when I expand the notification, there's nothing there. It just wants me to know that Discord is right now.
nice. Takik, one of the people who you were walking towards, seemed to be a satyr with two sort of horns that they are playing from the golden returned mask that they wear. Their skin also being a sort of pale gray as the returned are. And then a female satyr who is playing a small wooden flute that looks much more like a citizen of somewhere in the Nessian Woods or Setessa. Draki, the people beneath where your token is, do again look like a male satyr, this time from the Setessan area of Theros as well, and a Leonin lady who is currently in conversation with him. I believe Takik was previously talking to Trophy, so Draki, as you sort of approach this table, you can hear these two patrons currently talking about the plains to the north, land where many Leonin and other Minotaur and Centaur will congregate, the lands of Oreskos, and she is talking about the um, meeting of various leaders of clans at Tethemos, the
Various?
sort of almost capital of the Leonin up in Oreskos. Are you just listening as you approach, or are you saying something?
Let's see. Uh, Hello, fellow travelers. How is your evening going tonight?
The Leonin lady speaks up, and she's like, "It's been going very well. It's been quite a busy time in Akros. I'm just recounting some tales of the uh, interesting goings on in Tethemos. Tethemos? Did I just say that? There have been quite a few people coming down from the Catakathon Mountains, refugees who are seeking shelter.
Ah, yes, I know quite a bit about that. Let me tell you, having lived up in the Katathon Mountains previously. Um, do you hail from there by chance?
I am not from the Catakathons. I live out in Oreskos, among the Swiftclaws, the hunters that live out in the grasslands.
Oh, very good. Um, what is your name, fair maiden, if I might ask?
I'm Sia.
And you, my fine satyr gentleman.
Cameos.
Well, Sia and Cameos, would you mind if I sit in this chair?
Fine by me. Says Cameos.
Oh, thank you. So, what brings you all into the city?
Sia speaks up and says, "I came here with my sister," and she points at the Leonin over at the other table. We stopped by to take part in the celebrations and see some of the feats of strength in the Eroan games. Cameos speaks up and he's like, "I'm actually on a journey of self-discovery. This is part of my uh, traditional exploration from the lands of Setessa. Not sure if I'll return from here, or if I'll find what I'm looking for, or if things will take me further throughout Theros, but the fucking
Ah,
gif.
very good. Very good. Uh, I would like to inquire about possibly any information you guys have about the survivors and the possible going abouts of the Katakan Mountains. Have you heard anything specific about what's going on out there?
Um, I haven't been quite involved with it. My sister Garna, again the Leonin sitting at the other table, says that when she was up there with the Iron Mains, they were seeking out clan of fire giants, attempting to move them out of territory that they were trying to settle into. Um, the refugees sort of happened upon them as they were out there, and she was part of the group that brought them back to Themos, which is why we were reunited in the first place. There were women and
I
children
see,
and
I see.
other other.
Other
Don't know
beings.
why I said other. Brain's a little wonky right now.
That is a intense tale. Seems to have that the mountains are not well for living currently. Would you are you possibly by chance participating in any of the games?
Um, I was going to participate in the archery competition. Um, I've honed my skills with some of the best swift claws out there, so I figure I might stack up against at least one Acrowan or two.
You look like you have quite the build for an archer. I'm sure your bow is
You look pretty
very
stacked.
impressive. Your back muscles are insane. Um,
Well, thank you.
what is the? Would you mind sharing some of the processes of the actual games?
Um, yeah, from what I've heard, some of the Acroans might be able to tell you a little bit better, but there will be a few of the normal games this year, sort of the archery, there's splitting an arrow, chariot racing, pit fighting. A lot of it is going up against one another, or in some of the cases, a test of strength and endurance in the sense of the pit fighting and the more gladiatorial idea. I believe Princess Taranika in the first week of the actual games towards the end of the month was going to give more information on a special set of games for people who are attempting to vie for her hand in marriage.
I see, I see. And how might one participate in these games? Do they have to have acts of valor, or is it open to the public?
It is open to whoever wishes to participate in the games. Should you make your way to the Temple of Triumph here in Akros, I'm sure you can find somebody to um, sign you up for a competition or two, or however many
Oh
you
God,
feel
do we
like
have to write
partaking
in
in.
magical? Do we have to write in magical ink?
It is a bit of a busy place at the moment, and the guards might be a little uh, drawn away from you initially, but that's simply because this strange Akron is currently living there as part of their allowance to remain in the city. They are under constant watch in the arena.
I see, I see. And out of curiosity, while I was walking up to the table, I did overhear that the Minotaurs, or sorry, not Minotaurs, was it the Centaurs or was it the Minotaurs? Are
Well,
gathering.
something you heard them say, or
Yeah.
the various clans of Leonin are gathering at Tethamos.
Ah, I see, I see.
So different matriarchs and patriarchs and sort of warband leaders are all coming together at the capital, air quotes capital. Some of the sort of background stuff of Leonin is that
World
there is
building.
yeah, some of the background stuff for Leonin politics is kind of this recognized leader as the
Hmm.
speaker who lives in Tethamos. However, they don't have any like actual rule. They just kind of speak the will of Leonin, and various clans and tribes are able to follow them, not follow them, however they wish. It's just kind of like a uh, get everybody together to talk sort of position.
I see. Well, very good. Um, well, I think I shall buy you fine people a drink. And then I'm just gonna proceed to chop it up with them.
Okay. Takik, as you had wandered over to the uh, return satyr and this other lady satyr, again, did you walk over saying something? Are you sitting on the couch, kind of as your token might suggest, or?
Yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying the music right now. I'm just kind of watching them. Um, kind of curious about the Returned being there playing music, and I don't think I wrote his name down.
Thodos.
Oh wait, photos. Yes, I did. Haha.
Um,
Uh,
definitely getting from the satyr. They seem to be kind of dancing in a pretty normally mirthfully satyr way, kind of moving back and forth with the music.
mhm.
But that sort of jovial attitude is very clashing with the weird morbid nature of their golden mask that is this like pained face of a satyr, as well as just the fact that their very nature is that of a returned. But the lady does seem to be just sort of playing along with Thodos as if they're performing a song together.
Um, being a musician, I would probably, instead of trying to like talk to them while they're playing, due to my skills with my lute, would probably try and like signal and inquire with my body language about joining the song with them.
Got it. Yeah, so as you kind of start strumming, just go ahead and make me a performance check. Yeah, so you start sort of listening, tuning your tree lute to kind of be
Nice.
in the same key, on key, whatever music words. You'll realize I
Yeah.
don't know a lot about anything as I try and describe things as a DM. Um, they do sort
Tough
of,
life.
while holding the flute, she does sort of like almost with her elbow motion for you to like get up and come over by the fire and sort of join in on the small little band that's going on. And easily enough, with your knowledge of instruments, you sort of hear the rhythm and the song that they're playing and start playing along.
Hell yeah.
I know that guy. Power it up.
Eventually, the song itself does come to an end, and she reaches out her hand to shake yours and says, "Zinni, what's your name?"
Ah, my fair lady, my name is Takik. I could not be more excited to be in the company of musicians. I've been traveling with an oaf and an ogre for the last, I don't even know how long, and finally having someone to share music with is truly a delight.
It is like speaking an entirely other language with people when they understand the songs that you sing and the ones that you play. Tell me, are you from Akros or are you traveling?
I am indeed traveling at my lady. I've actually never been to Akros. This is my first time in the land of warriors and scholars. I've been enjoying myself thus far, but me and my traveling companions have been exploring the area. I originally am from that beautiful, beautiful Skola Vale. I was fortunate enough to not be stuck there. Um, Although I do love a good party, I was able to travel away from there in search of just various truths throughout the world.
Interesting. I'm traveling as well, not from Skola Vale, but still from the east of Theros. I actually hail from Setessa. This is uh, probably my last trip out into the world before I become a priest at the Autumn Nexus.
Oh, a priest. Would I know anything about that?
You can make me a history check with advantage.
Hmm.
It is pretty much home territory for you. So
And I am.
what you know about Setessa is kind of it is this large polis created pretty much completely out of nature from the will of the god Garametra and the god Nylea, with a little bit of the god Afara thrown in there. Um, there are 4 seasonal nexuses that all have various god damn it seasonal associations. The autumn nexus being one, winter, fall, and summer being the others. They're generally associated with various deities, uh, but the specifics you aren't overly familiar with.
Okay. Wow, how delightful that you'd be joining as a priest. Um, what for what reason do you seek to join the priesthood?
I wish
Oh,
to see the Nessian Woods and Setessa and the areas around it uh, prosper and flourish. The natural order of things seems to be a little bit out of whack, and they they always could use more priests there to tend the eternal fire that sits at the heart of the autumn nexus. But I mostly am interested in various leadership positions in Setessa and throughout the Nessian Woods.
ah, indeed. I'm sure the leadership comes with many answers to questions regarding the world and the seasons and nature and whatnot. But before we continue too further into that, I must say I feel rather rude not introducing myself to our friend over here. Hello, sir. What is your name?
You see, they sort of stop dancing around and just double barreled point the flutes at you and just sort of like blow. It plays a pretty discordant melody.
Ah, okay. Not one for words. I appreciate that.
The
Um,
trophy, the bartender said that his name was Thodos. he apparently was part of a group of satyrs that traveled here about a year ago, but she didn't realize he was a returned because there were so many of them until they all left and he was just still here playing music.
Hmm. Interesting. Does he ever speak, or is this your first time meeting him as well?
I have been here for a couple of days now, and we've been playing songs, but he has yet to speak any words.
Oh, most peculiar. Most peculiar. Well, since you're in the city, are you attending the games, or what do you have? Any other business throughout Akros?
I mostly came here with my brother Camios. She points over at the table where you can see Draki is having a jolly good time chopping it up with the people. As part of his sort of traditional journey of self discovery, his uh, peregrination, as they say in Satessa. Um, but I mostly came with him out of interest in the goings on for what seems to be happening to Perforos and what Perforos is exacting upon this land. The fire at the heart of the Autumn Nexus is long thought to be closely related to Perforos, and it is dwindling ever more by the day.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, we've also been seeking answers regarding Perforos's wrath in the area. We actually, hold on, let me think. Sorry, let me think really quick. Um, Sorry. We've been searching for answers regarding that. We've heard tales of the rotting of metals and goods coming from the area, and we have been investigating the. Did we go to the Katakathon? Is that where we were?
You were
Sorry.
close to
Yeah.
it. You went up the
Yeah.
Data River, and we're in the foothills there.
Yeah, we traveled.
The Castonos.
Okay, we traveled up river a bit to seek some answers, and um, actually, while searching for that, I happened to stumble upon the pool of Lith, which was quite invigorating for the spirit.
That's miraculous. Did you drink from it?
Um, I did, I did. I actually maybe not the smartest thing, but I did wade into the pond itself and spoke to um who was I don't know if I wrote her name down. Sorry.
I don't even know
I
if you
spoke.
asked that woman her name.
I think I did, but I didn't write it down. But I spoke with Farenica. Is that the snake goddess? Oh,
Farrakha,
Farika,
yeah.
Farika. A servant of Farika, and I was told to drink, so I did partake, and I'm one to push the limits on knowledge. So I did drink twice, and the second time definitely may have been a little too much for a mortal myself. Um,
It's quite brave of you to drink from those pools. It does seem uh, almost coincidental, almost related. The Nessian woods themselves have seen many more snakes and spiders and insects roaming throughout the lands, and some people are a little bit more on edge than others these days. They seem to think that there are signs of either Farrakha's influence throughout the world that's growing, or potentially just scheming.
Yes, do you know much of the I mean, with you wanting to become a priest, I assume you are familiar with dreams and visions and the like?
I have had some training in divining omens. I'm no oracle, that's for sure, but I'm a bit more in touch with the gods themselves and Nyx.
Well, with drinking of the water, I did have a vision, and I could not remember what tale it may be linked to, but are you familiar with the myths of the Nyx? I have one. I've been racking my brain on this particular vision that I had, and I can't come up with any connections. Um, but it seemed to have something to do with the gods and potentially the current state of the world and why all of this may be happening.
I could certainly attempt to help you out.
So I will tell her the of my first vision. So it's talking about the I don't know if you ever I'm sure you have it written down, but the lover vision. Um, and talk about how like they were tricked into becoming separated forever. The one of shadow, one of light. Um, and then like the vision of me rising above Theros, laughing. You're confronted by the two lovers. The hate of the gods is strong. And the one covering you in light strikes down the vision out of light, basically. Um, and then it says caught by forearms. I don't know if that was when I was leaving the pool or not, but
She starts to think a bit. It sounds like a retelling of the story of the champion of Heliod, Elspeth, and her lover Daxos from a couple years back. More
Just a couple years.
uh, a bit more recent of a tale that actually took place here in Akros when it was being sieged by the forces of Xenagos. Um, they were said to be tricked by the god of revels, Xenagos, Daxos and Elspeth, that is. Xenagos making Elspeth see Daxos as a creature from her deepest nightmares, and then with the power of Heliod, she slayed him.
you slayed the
Realizing
god.
no,
Oh,
slayed Daxos.
oh,
Xenagos was thought to have gone off and ascended at that point in time, and the rest of his tale ends with him being deposed by the other gods. But the rest of what you said sounds like Elspeth and Daxos. Uh, as Elspeth realized what she did, she went to the underworld to try and rescue Daxos, realizing that she had been uh, essentially fooled and wanting to right her actions. I'm not quite sure about the falling from Nyx into the arms of into four arms, but the rest of the story sounds in line with Daxos and Elspeth's tale.
yeah, interesting. Because the only gods I can think of having forearms would be Crufix. Um, I don't remember if anyone else has
Can
something
make
else.
me a religion check.
Religion is here.
Damn, son.
Shit.
Yeah, can't
Hit
really
the wrong
remember
box.
if forearms are associated with any other gods.
Um,
Iroas has 4 legs.
true.
Into all.
Well, your insight is helpful. I would risk telling you my second vision that caused me much more fear as to what may be going on in the realm of the gods as we speak. So I will tell her about the battle. Clad as a centaur battling a Crowans, looking for someone. See the rage-filled face of a minotaur swinging two axes of snake leaking into uh, two axes, I think, in the forms of snakes, smashing and leaking into an anvil or something. I don't remember exactly. My notes aren't that great, but
Bu- 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 I believe it was about like snake fangs being the like shape of the weapon.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Do 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 do. That one does seem to be a bit stranger. It doesn't ring any uh, bells in my mind about known myths. Um, the imagery does feel very um, pertinent, however, from what you've described. Anvils often being associated with Perforos, the god of the forge. Let me just make sure I'm actually getting the. Yeah, so anvils often being associated with the god of the forge, Perforos. Um, a minotaur themselves, sort of running around, being particularly slaughtery, being Mogus, perhaps assisted or in some way enhanced by potentially Farrakha with the snake fangs.
mm.
But you said the imagery of the fangs going down towards the anvil and the pain screaming, piercing your mind with venom leaching from the weapon into the anvil seems like Farrakha may have injured Perforos somehow, may have caused some form of poison to afflict him.
Mm.
The rest of that tale is interesting and probably worthy of being written down in a collection of myths, but it's not something that I've really ever heard before.
Yeah, it's caused me a lot of. I've had a good amount of time to think about it now, and I've just been milling about it. So I appreciate you listening and giving your feedback. I fear there may be more afoot than people may realize. I fear that a war among the gods may be something that we're not ready for.
Certainly, in the diminishing of the flame in the autumn nexus and the wrath or rage or whatever this is of Perforos here in the region around Akros, much of the heat of Perforos is associated with the warmer seasons and the coming of uh, summer. I
Mm.
hate to imagine what it means for the natural order if one of the gods associated with some of the seasons and seasonal changes either potentially dying or injured or poisoned.
Indeed, much to think about. But I fear not not to take too much of your time, as there seems to be music to be played and drink to be have. Would you like a beverage, my lady?
That would be great. And yes, let's lighten the mood from these tales of dark times to come.
Meanwhile, Photos has been on his half-hour fucking flute solo.
Just tearing it up.
Just rocking out.
Already, no dough. photos getting photoed. Yeah, I'll display before I buy her a drink. So
Got it. Athan, in your sort of conversations with Fotis and Timon, you do hear Fotis does sort of talk about some of the gladiatorial fights that he intends on participating in come the time of the Eroan Games, and he has heard from some people on the northern edges of Akros that they captured a Cyclops and a Fire Giant as some of the
Ooh.
monstrous creatures for competitors to face off against.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds exciting. Are there? Because there's like a whole bunch of different ones. Is there like, in terms of the gladiatorial stuff, is it typically like a full on melee, or is it like, who can best the monster, or is it like teams trying to take down monsters, or teams versus teams? Like what do we got going on?
There is a melee portion of it, and then depending on the groups of people that they have sign up, there is essentially group fights against monstrous creatures.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah, those sound great. Is he doing one of the solo ones, or is he have a group of comrades he's going to fight with?
I have a few brothers at arms that we wish to fight together.
Nice. Well, all the luck to you. Tell me, you're part of the Lectoi, but I'm curious, who is the current? Or I guess no, Lectoi is just soldier,
Lictoi
or
is like
sorry,
the ruling class of soldier.
ruling class.
Yeah.
But he is Oramai, which is the city guard as well.
The guard of the colophon, more specifically. So
Right.
the guard of the other like royalty in this case, currently being Queen Regent Taranika.
Right. So he would ask, who is currently Terranika's bodyguard?
Taranika doesn't have a singular bodyguard that she has sort of claimed as her own. She has traveled with a pretty decently sized retinue of soldiers. It reminds her more of being on the front lines of the battle. She prefers it that way.
Okay. Does she have like a legion under her own command, in a sense, or some amount
Yes,
of people?
there are those again that sort of are her personal retinue or like group of guards that stay with her.
Okay. So she commanded forces. Are all her forces back in the city now, or are most of them still out, like
Still
on the
out.
front lines? Okay. Good. We don't have some kind of Caesar situation going on here. Good to know. Okay. Uh, does she like how is she taking to city life? Um, the peace and calm. I realize there's like the games to run, but I could never quite picture her, sort of sitting through the like town forums and presiding over the sort of mundane day-to-day stuff.
Indeed, she is eager to return to the front lines out in One-Eyed Pass to fight the forces of Scophos and the various creatures that attempt to threaten the lands of Akros. Um, she's not by any means incapable of running Akros in the games, but the situation in the region is quite dire at the moment. She was spread very thin when she showed up, and things have not gotten any less complicated. She has actually gathered a small council of people to essentially help in the administration of the city itself and various don't know that guy, and the multitude of different tasks that employs. She
Does she intend for this council to run the city when she returns to war?
she does not. No, I think Taraneka's intention is to solidify the rule that she has to appease the rest of the Lakoti that are a little up in arms about the odd transition of power into her rulership with whoever wins this Akroan Games to name a king and then be able to unite Akros a little bit more to allow her more freedom from her rulership duties.
Hmm. Okay. Well, uh, definitely food for thought. Um, does she, I guess, like in terms of whoever is currently the ruler, do they make frequent public appearances? Is that like a common thing? Do they actually sit in on city forums? Like, I was just kind of guessing.
She does go amongst the populace of Akros and walk the markets and the open air agoras as there are those public forums of trade and commerce. But she has for the first year taken counsel mostly within the colophon, as it was
Mm-hmm.
safer for her to remain there instead of wandering out amongst the public. Should anything further
Does
transpire in Akros against the royalty.
What do you mean by that?
Again, just fears of the current situation. Perforos seems angry and it is affecting the lands. There's no telling what signs the gods may send or any sort of dissatisfied factions among the Akroans that, again, might not
But
be.
surely the polis is safe, right? Does she fear a coup from the other houses?
She is worried of the other Lakoti houses exerting a long unused tradition amongst the Lakoti where they could challenge her rulership legitimately in our sort of code of ethics, uh, should they believe she is not doing a good job.
That seems unnecessary. She's literally presented the forum for them to do so. They must simply partake in the games.
Indeed, it was largely the first year where things were cooling down from the death of King Annex and the death of Queen Symede, that this was more of a concern of hers. And yes, you do have it quite spot on. The games themselves and this sort of open allowance of marriage has definitely calmed the other Lakoti houses. But should there be enough upset or disagreement, it is still a possibility.
Are there any favored champions among the Lakoti that seek to take her hand?
Um, there was a fighter named Kithian who has reportedly come back to the city, but nobody to my knowledge has seen them. They were essentially a very prized hero of Heliod back in their youth. growing up in Akros. Akros? Akros. Wow, my brain's all funky. There was some tale of Kithian having a kind of relationship with Terranica in their youth, but such is the tales of various heroes. People always trying to ship them together.
Do I recognize the name Kithian?
Definitely as somebody who has lived in Akros, you've heard of Kithian before. He was kind of along the same trajectory as you when and being a kid when you were a kid, and having gone out and slain uh, a returned giant essentially as a task for his worship of Heliod to sort of prove himself in the sun god's eyes.
Okay. Tweet. Okay. Well, I guess the last question would be: do you think it'd be possible to gain an audience with Taranika? I would like to speak to her personally.
For an Oramai like yourself, I'm sure she would be glad to speak with you.
Okay. Yeah, this might come off as a weird question, but with all of the talk of the death and disappearance of the king and queen, has there been any mention of me?
Sorry, I forget it. I didn't ask your name. Who are you?
Oh, he would have said his name is Athen.
Oh, got it. You probably did at some point.
Okay.
He does sit there and think for a bit, and he's like, Athen? You're Athen?
Yes.
The gods must be happy. You're alive.
So they say.
And the tales of you going after this Ignakshi, what became of the fire speaker? Or
I
the
went
flame
after
speaker?
Ignakshi? I mean, yes. I'm. Wait, hold on. So let me get my story straight. The last I saw Ignakshi was he left for Mount Velis with Mike and Dust and the king, right?
Yes.
Okay. And people are saying because that was sort of a secret mission. Everyone else is saying the king died in battle from his wounds. He never made it back and then left on a journey. Right. Yeah, I guess Athen would just be like, what do you mean about Ignakshi?
There was tale. I was not in the colophon at the time, at least not in the colophon proper. Tale of a creature that had made its way into the colophon through underground tunnels and pipes. A creature made completely out of lava. Taranika later informed the rest of us, the Oramai that were there, that you had left Akros into going sort of northeast into the mountain ranges towards Mount Velis, chasing after this flame speaker that had come to the council chambers.
They think that Ignakshi summoned this creature?
That Ignakshi was this creature, at least
Oh.
from what Taranika reports having heard from you. the magma pouring out of one of the pipes in the colophon, and then taking the form of this woman.
Wait, is Ignakshi a woman?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got it. um. Hmm. And that was the end of it.
You did not return, and Perforos's anger seemed to continue, so we had kind of considered you dead.
Ignakshi never returned, though.
Correct.
It appears I have much to discuss with Terranica. And much to think about tonight. But thank you for. Oh, there she is.
Damn.
As sort of my Candace had reminded you of Ignakshi back in the underworld and continuing to talk of her, you do recall a flame speaker who looked like this. Named
Right, I figured
Ignakshi.
I knew who she was. Just I didn't know it was a woman.
I just also wanted to share the art.
Yeah. Okay.
It's some good art.
And what Mike and us said was that they had gone to Mount Velis and that Anax was reforged using the sort of like strength and spirit of Mike Candace, but he never mentioned what happened to Ignakshi, did he?
Right. So he kind of stopped consciously and physically being there when he was used to essentially like be part of the forging of Anax into
Right.
something else.
Okay, so he didn't know what happened to Ignakshi, but up until that point, he had no inkling that Ignakshi was in any way potentially betraying.
No real signs of any betrayal. Ignakshi was against the idea of going to Perforos in the first place because she, as an oracle of Perforos, was like, guys, I don't think he wants this. I don't think this is gonna go well. And then Cymede was like, no, go. And you go with because you'll be able to essentially like vie for our favor as Pious of Perforos.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that, or maybe I don't remember. Okay, so Stymede pushed for them to go to Velis.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah.
No.
I don't have any other questions, I don't think.
Fotis does say, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret so you don't think I'm out here being delinquent of my duties in the colophon. Trophy, and he points over to the innkeeper, is actually on the council for Terranica. She has assigned me with her protection, so I go where she goes.
Oh, I wasn't assuming that you were derelict in your duties. I thought it was simply your night off.
Just covering my bases.
Okay. No, I know the Oromai. You know, I wouldn't dare sully the name by thinking that of you. So I guess do I know, is it common for non-humans to be part of such an inner circle?
No, it is not.
Okay. Is it something that Terranica is known for?
She is less of like a, I guess the word would be like an exclusionist, mostly just because she is more familiar with non-humanoid or non like humanoids, being kind of on that front line where there are more of the exotic races.
Okay. Um, and when he says council, this is the council that she has set up in Akros to run the city.
Yes, to help advise her in it and help her perform the necessary actions to run the city.
Okay. So Athens, like, so why is Trophy here working at a bar then?
She owns the place, and much like Terranica, does not super enjoy the more bureaucratic and uptight rulership uh, environment of the Colophon. So she usually comes back here instead of staying there. And unless Terranica calls upon her, uh, this is where you will likely find her.
Okay. Uh, good to know. I guess what are your thoughts on Trophy? You said she doesn't like bureaucracy. Does that not make her ill-suited to run the city?
She definitely seems like a odd pick. If I were the one in charge of creating a council for Akros, however, she does um, have quite a bit of ties back to Setessa, where she's from, and the Nessian Woods, and they know much about monstrous creatures, different sorts of um, dangers that could be threats towards Akros, especially after the disbanding of Xenagos' legions. Uh, Most of them seem to have gone back to the wilds where he gathered them from, but somebody being knowledgeable of hydras or trolls or other various unique beasts and monsters is definitely good to have.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for Various. He's very sneaky.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, well, it seems like she's a good source of information then. If you'll excuse me, I need to parlay with my my party and get a bead on what our plans are for the coming morning. But it
Indeed,
was
brother.
good to talk to you, and I'm sure I'll see you around here more.
I hope so too. Many victories in your future.
Yes. Um, Athens gonna go find Rocky and Taki, who is behind the bar. Um, have we? I forgot. Have we already paid for rooms?
You have not, no.
Okay. I guess he'll first go up to Trophy and ask her what it is to spend the night.
Got it. Is Takik sort of just wandering back behind the bar?
Yeah, he's just wandering to wander.
Okay. Trophy does sort of like eye you as you're just sort of in the behind the bar area. There doesn't seem
Sorry.
to be much back here aside from various
He's here?
mugs. Oh my god.
Again?
I told myself tonight that I was gonna try and not do that. There's an
Um,
assortment of different mugs, some of them being the half horns, other ones being normal drinking mugs.
I am sorry, my lady. I've just never been in a bar owned by satyrs in a city run by humans, and I just wanted to see what it was like. You'd understand. hmm I also need to order a drink for myself and my friend Zinni over there, and also a room if I don't believe I paid for that yet.
All right. The room itself is just going to be 2 silver pieces. Half horn of ale will be 2 copper.
I refuse to do math, so here is a piece of gold.
That covers it.
Athen will pay for his room, and I don't remember. I think he got a beer before.
He did. Yeah.
I guess I paid for it. I don't know. I don't have any change. It doesn't make sense. I will pay for the beer.
It's possible Fotis got you a beer.
Maybe, but he would have had more, so he'll pay for a few more drinks because he would have had a couple rounds. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Pay for his drinks. Pay for a room, and then seeing Dakik up there, he'd ask him, "Hey, so what are we doing tomorrow, or like what do you want to do tomorrow?"
More like, who am I doing tomorrow?
That's also an option, but you know.
You do
I
see from the
assume that
fireplace where Zinni is playing the flute a sort of sly wink.
He's got game.
hold on, let me say goodnight to Athena.
Could I ask Garna a few questions?
Yeah, so kind of in that situation, you followed up, walking over to Garna.
Yeah.
You can see, much like Sia sort of mentioned, somebody that you kind of, or a dress that you kind of recognize.
Mm-hmm.
The armor on Garna is not like in bad condition, but it does seem like it has had rust kind of war painted onto it, and the fringes of her fur also have rust sort of on their ends, something that is indicative of the uh, Iron Mane clan, who live mostly in the Catakathon Mountains, and kind of are a bit more of an isolated tribe that doesn't often recognize the authority of the speaker of the Leonin, but is not like actively against them.
Hello there, Garna. I heard that you have saved a group of Leonin from some fire giants.
We were out in the Catakathon Mountains hunting fire giants, trying to clear out a cave system for ourselves, a nice place to set up for the colder parts of the year. We ran into some refugees in the Catakathons who were fleeing, they said, from these large lava snakes and a man traveling on the back of a red dragon.
I see. I'm also from those mountains. I did call them home a long time ago. My tribe was unfortunately dispatched by that same flaming man and those fire serpents. Um, do they happen to be from the tribe of Sunclaw?
There were a few from Sunclaw. This was some time ago. I'm not quite sure of how long ago you were up there, but it was the inciting event that led me back to Theros, where I met back up with my sister Sia, and then we decided to get to know each other again and come here for the games.
Ah, yes, that is very fun to have great connections with family. Did you happen to find a survivor by the name of Ella?
Speaking of family,
Yes.
Ella was. Were they a child?
Yes. She would look somewhat like me. She's my daughter, um, who I have lost.
I don't quite remember the names of those who I brought to Tithemos, but it does sound familiar, and you look quite notable.
You can say that.
I do have quite the build. What can I say? This is peak male physique right here.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Clearly, Athens doing it wrong.
I did
Yeah.
not get to know them very much, the refugees, but this does sound familiar.
It was a troubled time. Out of curiosity, have you heard anything about the roaming Fire King in those mountains?
We only heard much of what the refugees said. He shouted a name, Cymede, which also pointed some of us, Leonin, to come here to Akros, as that is the name of the late queen from here. Um, the man rode on the back of a red dragon, and we abandoned part of our hunting quest to go after him instead, as this large creature seemed to be an interesting creature to hunt.
Yes, a
There are
dragon would be a very noble prize to take down.
We never ended up finding them, but deeper in the Catakathon Mountains, we followed tracks of dragons and shed red scales and strange deposits of cooled lava. It is
You
rumored that the axe this man wields drips lava.
Yes, from what I have heard, is the fell king Annex, and he has been cursed by the god of the forge. So that would definitely check out.
It's quite an interesting idea.
But that is all hearsay. Do you have a specific location that I could mark on a map of where these droppings from the dragon and the magma would be located in the Catathlon Mountains?
I can narrow you down to a region in which we were hunting them. Whether or not they're still there or not is unknown, but I could certainly give you an idea of where to start, which is where we left off.
That would be much help, my fair maiden.
And there's no like image that I have to give you for where to go
No,
searching,
yeah,
but she
that's
does sort
fair.
of outline a smaller section of the entire mountain range.
Well, I do hope you will enjoy your drinks tonight and sleep well.
Indeed, if this Ella is at Tethemos, I'm sure she is being cared for, but should you wish to go and check for yourself, I'm sure they are keeping track of those who flee from the mountain range to be able to better reunite them with any lost families and make sure that they are taken care of.
I very much appreciate that. Would I know what Tithamos is?
Yeah, you would know it's essentially the capital of
Right, right.
the
The
Leonin.
Leonin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're mostly nomadic peoples, but there is a settlement of a kind in the northern parts of Theros from where you are. I don't know if it's too small on the map to see.
Well, it's actually south of Theros.
Ah, right. Uh, this is
But
much
only
more
slightly. It's mostly just east.
to the side than I thought. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Um, I am hoping that my daughter is still among them. If that was her you were talking to.
I hope so as well. It is
And
a tragedy to lose a family member.
it does put strain on one's soul, that is for sure.
Perhaps some of the Crowan soldiers that I fight in the gladiatorial combat this month will ease my frustrations with the potential king out there displacing families.
As do I. As do I. And then I proceed to go walk over to the rest of my group.
Got it.
And then I'm gonna get room and another drink, as well as a drink for my Leonin sisters.
Got it. So yeah, 2 copper just for the ales, and then the 2 silver for the room.
Okay, I'll just give her a gold. Heavy tip.
Got it.
Games bring in good business.
She, hey man, I gotta make sure that she remembers me next time I come in.
Tradosvia
Got you.
does thank the both of you, and then just sort of, or the 3 of you, and fill up your cups and give you keys for your rooms.
Any interesting tales you've heard tonight?
Well, I've heard that my daughter is possibly alive, and that brings me great joy, but also I'm very worried about her.
I mean, that's good news.
It is. It is. Honestly, means we have a reason to celebrate tonight.
I'll drink to that.
Drinks, boys.
Drink.
There are
Um,
currently 3 satyrs here, and I am feeling a little frisky for some beverage.
Aren't there
yes.
4?
Cameos is quite
There are
quite the gentleman.
4. Yeah.
I meant 3 others.
Oh,
Is there
okay.
a 4th one?
You're-
Oh,
I was saying you were the 4th.
I guess the bartender. Okay, I guess there are 4 others. One's returned though, so I don't know if I should count him. He just screamed at me in a flute.
Anyway, to Ella's health.
To Ella's health.
Do
And we find her. And I'm just gonna tell you guys about what I found out about Annex and Garma hunting them, or Garna hunting them, or trying to, anyways. And the last location.
This
What is
is
it?
it's so peculiar that this is a common theme amongst the stories we've heard. I don't recall Annex, particularly disliking Leonins or like I can't imagine what would cause him to go after your kind. And I don't think Perforos either has a grudge against you guys. It seems very odd, you know?
Well, there are many tribes in the mountains. Perhaps they are. Perforos is trying to clear the area for something bigger.
It's an interesting
I'm
thought. I
not sure.
can't fathom what he would need to do that for.
Especially considering he's so full of rage.
He does definitely not seem to be in the right mind.
No.
Um, do you have plans or wants to do tomorrow?
Me personally, I would like to see how we could possibly acquire entrance into the games.
I think that can be pretty easily done.
I think so as well. What about yourself?
I definitely want to seek an audience with Taranika. Um, I'd like to do that before I
Thank
sign
you.
up for the games.
I'm
But
okay with that.
yeah,
Maybe she'll have some light to shed on the annex situation.
I think so. I heard tale of my own story, some parts that I have yet to remember, and it seems that there's a bit more that happened here in the city before I found myself in the underworld.
I see.
There are ties that relate to our burning creature problem that might might give some insight as to what's happening. So
Yeah.
I'd like to pull on that thread and see where it takes us.
My fellow Leonians did also mention fire giants in the mountains as well, so seems to be
I would also like to
burning.
speak with this Farenika. I think based on
Veronica?
the
Was that an intentional portmanteau?
I don't know what that means, but yeah, sure.
You combined Farrakha and Taranika.
Yep, that was an accidental. My brain's mushy. I think based on the information we've been gathering and the visions I've been seeing, that she may hold answers to the things we're kind of collectively seeking and destined to partake in.
I agree.
And
Well then, let
our
us get a
luck
good
would be that
night's.
we have you, Athens. So
Yeah. Let's get us a good night's sleep and tackle the day's challenges tomorrow.
Sounds like a splendid plan.
Athen will finish his drinks and say goodbye to Fotis and Timon, and then head to bed.
I will do the same.
Got it. Takik, are you continuing your revels with
I will
the
revel
party
as
downstairs?
I'm
yes.
gonna grab some water real quick.
I'd like to revel a little bit, but not enough to where I won't be able to get a long rest.
Got it. Can I get you to make me a performance check?
Thought you'd never ask.
I've been waiting for this moment all night. That's a 12 plus 10 on 14.
Plus 10 on 14. So as you do continue your sort of reveling with the crowd here in terms of money that you kind of get tossed back at you for your performance and for people's enjoyment of what's going on, you do recoup the gold that you spent on
Huzzah.
your stay and your alcohol in multiple
You
different
almost said it.
versions of change.
You're very close.
And then can I get you to make me a perception check?
Perception would be just the button over here. Wait, no, there it is. Not again.
So as you are doing this reveling and performing throughout the night, you do notice at times where your shadow being cast against the floor and the wall by this fire, sort of larger, much larger than yourself, does seem to be partaking in the revelry more than you just dancing back and forth, as if there is the silhouette or the shadow of somebody else here partying, and you can occasionally see those sort of smoldering red eyes from
Man,
the shadow
can we
in your
go one
vision.
day without someone being cursed?
Can I distinguish any features, or does it just look like a larger version of myself?
With the perception check, you do recognize it is not like your shadow. However, unless you were a little bit more like aware of the potential of that being a thing, you don't think it would be something that somebody notices. Say just make me a history check again, as you've sort of had more things be talked about.
Fuck. If only I was a psionic.
Something about this shadow is itching in the back of your mind, but you're not quite picking up on it, and you're a little bit into your drink.
I love that you know there's something there, but you don't know what it is.
It's like the carrot at the end of a stick.
You're a psychic detective, and you know this will be important later.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's cool. Just keep seeing this thing.
But
Just ignore him.
No one look at me.
is that your shadow, or are you just happy to see me?
Ugh, don't get me started. Yeah, I don't know how late and how much drink it would take for me to still get a long rest, but definitely pushing the limits because I'm enjoying the music and having fun, and also I'm low-key scared to go to bed now because I'm seeing demon shadows.
Got it. But eventually, as you go to rest, you all are unbothered in your sleep, rising the next morning. The people in the tavern now mostly having gone. What are you guys doing as you awake, or talking about doing, planning, scheming?
Breakfast.
Backfist.
Oh my god.
I eat about
Feeling-
6,000 calories a day. I must go consume.
Being dead was less painful than my head feels right now, low key.
What do you
I'm
know
sure you can
about
play in
Loki?
whatever key you want.
True. True. Any truers. I will also eat this fish.
The one that's
It's
been
fucking
sitting out there all
raw.
night.
Yeah,
The piece of
Breakfast,
wax.
not even fucking
the
prepped.
sort of meat and other arrangements of breakfast food is much more substantial than your run-of-the-mill pub or tavern, uh, and would Trophy mention that covered under the cost of the stay for the night.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, we were big tippers, so
I made my money back.
oh, very good.
Athens got a big tip, if you know what I mean.
Why is Garna
Whoa.
still sitting at that table? I moved her to a different layer.
She's
By
in
that I
hot
mean his
mood.
spear.
Ah,
Now, I think we have a date with the queen of this land. And I've got an itch on my ass that needs scratching.
I hope those things are unrelated.
Meh.
Um, yeah, Athen will lead the way to the colophon.
Got it.
I'm not gonna lie, Takik's feeling good after a night of revelry, so he's kind of just skipping along, playing music, making a scene in like a good way.
Is the vibe of the city pretty good? We're going through here. Can you get
Why
a
are
vibe
you
check?
asking that? You're from here.
Right. I want to know. Like, does it seem like people are
he's
intent
a vibing
and
well.
doing normal? Why are you stabbing?
Yeah,
sir?
aside from Takik daggering
Damn.
someone.
I was flipping it up in the air and catching it.
Guys, stop.
Jesus Christ. That's the best roll you've ever had for that.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for it's still 4 damage.
He's blasting fireworks and I'm doing knife throwing while I'm playing my lute.
I was doing a little kitty stretch and I shot it out to the sun.
Just make me a. I guess a vibe check would be insight. So go ahead and make me an insight check.
Ooh, yeah, about that.
The vibes are vibing.
It's pretty busy. It was busy yesterday when you guys got here.
This sure is a
It
place.
sure is Akros, as you've come to know it.
Do the townspeople look happy about the upcoming festival? Is that part of the vibe check?
That's kind of what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the vibe check itself.
Gotcha.
I mean there is an active crime in the streets. It's kind of, as you remember, a place that does bring joy to your eye as you see various members of the Akroan military patrolling the
Various.
street. Fuck me. The buildings still stand pristine and tall. Children still play in the street. Fuck.
Dude, you picked the wrong name.
I did.
Dude, that could be the title of every fucking session going forward.
Various
Things seem
happen
to
in
be,
Acropolis.
aside from the recalling of Perforos's rage, things going on outside of the city, things within the walls of the polis are as they should be.
Okay, I guess the main question I would have is the sort of like decay and like ruination of people's wares and goods that were being brought into the city. That isn't happening in the city, like the like the fountains aren't spewing muck and like the weapons on sale in the stalls, they're not like rusting before our eyes. Is that the case?
No. So it pretty much was some shipments as the people who both make the weapons as well as sell the ores and go through the smeltery processes would pretty much be doing like quality checks or checking the stuff that they are receiving from supplier and find an odd weapon having rusted by the time it was delivered, but those aren't prevalent enough to the point where, as you sort of walk through market stalls in areas, there's not people sort of shaking rusted ingots at each other or like dropping batches of rusted swords.
The guards' armor just kind of falls off them.
Yeah.
No.
It's that one fucking the oldest form of writing or whatever, where it's the guy talking about the shitty copper.
It's a bad Yelp review.
Yeah. The primordial Karen. Okay. So then, yeah, just making my way to the colophon, head into, I guess, like the palace, whatever we call it, where Terranica would be.
Got it. Much like entering into the city, as per your status, your apparent rank amongst the people here, you are not sort of hampered from your journey into the colophon and towards the throne room.
Oh my god, I had kids. I forgot them too.
The only point at which you are stopped is at the doors into the throne room, as you are aware, having been in one of these posts in your previous and or current life. Even the stray Oromai is not just allowed to walk directly into the council chambers without being stopped.
I would hope not.
You are hailed by the two guards that are out front of the door, and they are standing at attention. One speaks up and says, "State name and rank, purpose of visit."
I am Athenikos, Lakoti Oromai, servant to the late queen. Servant. Well, how would he say this? Because he wants to believe that she's alive.
Previous queen?
I guess protector or former protector of Queen Saimi. He'll put himself in the past, not her. I have come to seek audience with Queen Regent Terranica. I have many urgent matters to discuss.
For the sake of it, can you make me a persuasion check?
Ooh, hold on. I shall gift you the gift of sauce, my brother.
Ooh, love that sauce. What is your sauce worth these days?
That's a good question, Sauce Master. A D8.
Nice.
All I have is this Thousand Island dressing in my pockets.
You just
And
sort of
it's
wave the bottle at the guards, huh? Huh?
no,
All
it's
right.
just in my hand. I just like scoop it out of my pocket.
Persuasion.
Holy fuck!
Damn.
Are you gonna use that inspiration, or are you gonna save it?
um, um, I feel like I might need to make another check here pretty soon, so I'm not gonna use it right now because an 8 would only get me at most an 11, and I don't feel good about rolling an 8. Let me tell you.
Got it. Just give me a second here. So they don't like shoot you in the chest or anything. However, as you say your name out loud to them, the guard who asked the question in the first place does kind of double over, laughing
You're
Uh,
about to not believe me
uncontrollably.
again.
And the other one speaks up and he's like, "This surely must be a joke. You must have misspoken, brother. Athen Nixos?
Nikos.
Nikos?
Yes.
Well,
that is I.
the queen will love to hear of this. Excellent joke. Stay here a moment. I will see if she is willing to talk to a dead man." And he goes through the doors, and you can see there's a bit of like an antechamber beyond that he disappears into. And the other guard is still kind of just like gripping his chest, just like laughing, trying to not fall over.
Athen's face is contorted, trying to think about how he feels about being called both a joke and a dead man in one sentence.
Like he's staring at this guy like, do I make him grovel at our feet right now?
Athen's like, I kind of want to punch him, but I'm pretty sure I shouldn't.
Eventually, the other person does.
I'm gonna soil the guy's pants on his rear with my.
with
he's
prestidigitation.
Yeah, he's not gonna be able to see it, but I'm gonna do it.
Got it.
Big old brown spot.
He is too busy laughing to notice anything.
He literally shit himself laughing.
However, the other guard does come back and he's like, "Well, it's your lucky day, whoever you are." Taranika seemed to be quite interested to talk to somebody who claims to be Athan.
I really hope that these are two people that I actually knew in life, and like I'm just like, Greg, come on, why are you being a dick?
That'd be pretty funny.
He's like, we've known each other for years. I went to your wedding. Okay, yeah, a bit chastised. Athen goes inside.
Got it. They do not seem to stop your compatriots.
I'm gonna whisper
Okay.
to the
I'd
other guard,
like to
like,
see them
dude, I think
try.
he shit himself. Very quietly in his ear.
As the door shuts behind you, you do see the other guard sort of look over, and then he sort of like punches the guy who's laughing in the shoulder, and you see them sort of having like a conversation as you continue on into the throne room.
Yeah. Just I'll walk up.
Why didn't that
She
move
just-
you all over? There we go.
Can I announce
Oh my
him
God, it's so
as
bright in
persuasion?
here.
Whoa.
Why is this
Jesus.
orange?
It's the surface of the sun.
Yo.
Change the diet. Daylight comes, I've gotta go.
Fuck, I must have copied the tokens that I had.
Some holy light in here.
Oh.
tinted orange. Shit. Let's see.
Far over.
I mean, it's definitely a vibe, you know?
Well, I can't change them all simultaneously, so we're gonna go with it. I've never looked at this room through a player's eyes. One more thing I'm gonna try to see if I can change all of the apply token defaults.
Excuse me. I
Overwrite
think that
10
instead of you
tokens.
announcing yourself, I, with my persuasion, will will announce you.
Yeah, if you tell Athen to let you announce him, he'll nod his
Yeah.
head.
Athen, not that you're not great and everything, but that was the worst sort of persuasion I think I might have ever seen. Let me do a little intro for you as we walk in here.
He's like, okay, it's just sorry. This place brings back memories. It's been a while.
Bathe in the golden light.
We have ascended, brothers.
Let's see. Did that change everything? Yes, there we go.
Hey, there we go.
All right, you're off the surface of the sun. But yeah, so you guys go through the antechamber that was beyond the door and are sort of emptied out from the other end into this staircase that descends down into the throne room. Athen, very familiar with this environment. Much of your time was spent here previously. You can see there are many guards at different points throughout the room, and then sitting upon the throne is a very decorated Akroan veteran that you are familiar with through both having seen once or twice before, as well as having heard of their exploits on the front lines. She has the armor and decoration as she does in the picture, along with this sort of spike at the end of a chain, but instead of how the image shows, it is at the end of essentially like threaded silver strings instead of a black chain.
Yeah, Athen will go up and then he's gonna kneel and remove his helm.
And is Tukik doing some form of grand
Yeah,
introduction?
if you jump to about a minute into this clip, that's pretty much what I've got going on right now.
Wait, which clip? Oh, the make. Hold up. Let's see when.
Got it.
I'm feeling a little jittery after last night still, boys. I know Athens
Can
shaking
you
his head.
I'll
can you
introduce
make
you.
me
The
a
drunk
performance check?
swaggers in.
Yeah.
Fucking hangover.
Close enough. We'll take a 17.
There's something you lack. That's presentation.
Not your best performance by far, but definitely still a solid one. And the sort of ceremonial behavior of Athan does kind of bring it home as well. Taranika stands from the throne and walks forward, and she's like, "Rise, come closer, Athan. Let me see your face."
He's gonna you.
Hit her with a riz.
She does sort of step forward as well, and from above, she's a fairly tall lady. However, on this like raised throne, she is even higher up.
That's what it's there for.
She does look at you quizzically for a moment. You think, kind of not necessarily recognizing you, and then in sort of a flash, almost quicker than your eyes would normally be able to catch, you see kind of emanating from the bottom of this weapon that she has, those strings that tied you guys together initially, coming from the bottom of it, threading to Athan, you, and down to Keek and Draki, and then it is gone.
I'm sorry. What?
The fuck?
And she's like,
Gosh, damn, I'm so-
I would not have recognized you should Clothis not reveal some of her intentions to me. It must really be you. You've returned from the dead. Did you defeat Ignakshi?
I must say, I did not expect you to be so in tune with Clothis. It is well that she has forewarned you of our coming. As far as Ignakshi is concerned, I'm afraid there are some gaps in my memory that I cannot account for. I have come to talk with you in the hopes of figuring out what happened before I was stolen away to the underworld. I've heard tell that you were perhaps the last person I spoke to before I died.
I was at least the last person you had spoken to in the colophon. Who you spoke to on your way out of Akros, I do not know, or who you may have spoken to once you left. Again, I do not know. All I know is that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, how long ago was this?
This was around 2 years ago, some couple weeks after the end of the siege of Akros, after the death of King Anax.
Okay, hold on.
I was returning to the city, to the polis, with the news of my uncle having passed. I was coming to pay my respects and say
Now-
my goodbyes.
How do you think King Anax died?
He was felled in battle by one of the Rage Blood Minotaurs that Xenagos had in their ranks.
And did you see his body when you came back to pay your respects?
I did not know.
Because I know different. King Anax did not die in battle. He suffered a great and perilous wound, tearing through the armor that Perforos had forged for him. Mycandus carried him back here, where Queen Cymede instructed Ignakshi to take him and Mycandus to Mount Velis in an attempt to appease Perforos and heal King Anax. From what I learned, he was reforged by Perforos into something new. I'm not sure what, but the feat also claimed Mycandus's life. I met him in the underworld, and he told me this story from his own recollection. I don't know what happened to Ignakshi after that, though I know that she was initially hesitant about going to Perforos. You say 2 weeks after the siege, is when I chased after someone I had told you I believe was Ignakshi, but also a lava serpent. Is that correct?
A kind of um, in the lesser magical sense, a simulacrum of Ignakshi, a creature in the form of the fire speaker you had said made out of lava,
Ah,
who you were following the trails of. And she does point to sort of part of the staircase where some of the guards are currently standing. There are sort of burned into the stone, kind of these footprints, these almost like bare footprints that look like they had sunken a bit in by
hmm.
feet made out of lava.
And what of the queen's death?
The queen, and mind you, I assume you are traveling with company that you trust.
Yes, I will
The
get to them in a minute.
um, the members of my personal guard who are in the heroes in the room here with us as well, I implicitly trust, and are some of the only people in Akros who are aware of this fact. But when I came back here to the throne room, there was the ashes of Queen Cymede and the circlet, the diadem that she wore, um, signifying
Bruh.
her piety to Koronos, Koronos, on the ground.
Kronos?
The god of storms and epiphanies.
Oh, okay.
Epiphany.
That is unfortunately what I remember, although not the aftermath. Was this before or after I went after Ignakshi?
Um, I was not quite sure what was going on, but it seemed, especially from the rage you were in at the time, which you seemed to have shaken at least for the moment, that it was your chasing of Ignakshi was shortly after whatever happened here in the throne room.
Gotcha. Then I truly fear that Queen Cymede is dead. My memory being spotty as it was, I had hoped that through some miracle of the gods she might have survived being engulfed in flames, but if it is as you say, then she might well and truly be gone. Unfortunately, I have no recollection of what happened of me chasing after Ignakshi and whether or not I punished her and achieved vengeance for Cymede.
Perhaps you should
But
see to finishing the task or making sure that it is done now that you
I
are
I
back and
swear to you
have.
now, I will not rest until this matter has been settled and Ignakshi faces the justice of the gods. Um, However, there is more to my tale. I, like I said, don't recall what happened, but somehow I was defeated and I found myself in the underworld where I awoke. I was bound, as you just revealed, by what we believe are the threads of Clovis to these two uh, souls behind me. Takik, a bard of stunning prowess, and Draki, a warrior who I've fought alongside many times and has proven himself again and again. I don't know quite how our fates are intertwined, though I can say that hearing from their tales, their connection to the fiery creatures that are tearing across the land seem to be what bind us together.
Indeed, things do seem to be being orchestrated by some design of Clothis, perhaps attempting to right whatever is wrong in the mortal world and potentially Nyx, through bringing you all together. This engulfed in flame situation that you are talking about with Cymede, can you expand more on what you mean by that?
One of my, or actually my last memory that I had before I awoke in the underworld was that of Queen Cymede being consumed by a column of fire. Ooh, actually, this says in the council chambers. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he like pauses and he tells the story. He's like, "Wait, no, it wasn't here in the throne room. We were in the council chambers."
Sorry, I'm making this confusing. I've referred to this place as two different places. This is also the council chambers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. Oh man, I really thought we were onto something there. Yeah. Unless I am forgetting something that is all Athen remembers.
It is interesting hearing that portion of the story, as it was largely something that you did not describe in detail before you had left. This tying of fates together from Clothis and the anger of Perforos plaguing our lands, and you three warriors, fighters, bards being brought from the underworld to exact some scheme of Clothis's is causing great worry for me, as these tales of fire, the upsetting of the natural order of things. A counselor of mine has also spoken to me about a patron of hers at a tavern that she owns, who comes from the Autumn Nexus in Setessa, and speaks of the eternal fire dwindling and dying. Not many are familiar with their myths and legends of Clothis, as she is old like Crufix is, and people generally are less interested in the tales. But Clothis is responsible for keeping the Titans bound in the underworld. And with this strange situation around Perforos and the dwindling of the fire, I fear the bindings created by the god of the forge in cooperation with Clothis may be weakening. This fire that consumed Queen Cymede randomly, or perhaps for some reason, sounds like omens of Flagi, the eternal flame, shaking their bounds or binds. And I fear if we cannot right whatever is going on with Perforos in the mortal realm, I fear for what a return of such a creature from the underworld could entail.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. I believe, because Takik told us what, like what he learned last night, right?
Yeah, I would have. I'll kind of just jump in though and start.
Yeah, go, like, feel free.
I think, yeah, I'll just like kind of interrupt and be like, my lady, this is a pleasure to meet you. I've been experiencing some visions. We stumbled upon the pool of Lith, and I decided to test myself, and um, I like you are a a follower of an older god, Krufix. I tend not to share, but being uh, related in our piety towards gods who are not so much in the mind's eye of the public. I share a bond with you, I believe. And then I'll just I'll go into and explain the visions and kind of what I'm thinking about them and what I kind of talked through with Zini, trying to search for answers. Oh,
Flage, by the way, is the name of the Titan that she's talking about.
Yeah.
I think I might have misspoken, but
um,
you recount the.
I'm gonna tell her the visions, and then I'm gonna tell her both just so she gets a full understanding of kind of like I don't know that the first one is that important, but I'll share it anyway, so that she has a full picture of what may be going on.
This does sound like the tale of the two heroes, Elspeth and Daxos, from only a couple years back. The rest of it seems to be some sort of tale of it appears whatever this pool of Lith revealed to you may have been what happened to Xenagos. The idea of a god being destroyed is not unheard of, but oftentimes can be exaggerated. Perhaps a part of this satyr turned god survived the encounter in Nyx with the other gods and returned to the mortal world of Theros.
I think I'll tell her, due to your gods being a champion of the god that you have chosen, you may know more about creatures of darkness. Ever since I had a vision earlier in our travels, I've occasionally been witnessing a shadow within my shadow, and there tends to be. Last night was the most that I'd seen of it, but it appeared to be some shadow reveling with me, and the thing that's been standing out is the bright, smoldering red eyes that I tend to catch looking at me, and seem to flee my vision when I spot them. It reminds me of something, and I have not been able to recall what it is, but I know that it last night especially was not my shadow that was being portrayed on the walls and floors as I danced and played music.
There are some tales of Xenagos that describe him as, and this is Taranika sort of reciting this, having glowing red eyes of embers, sort of as physical characteristics or symbols of the bloodlust and slaughter that they were kind of naturally born with. It is odd and something that I have never heard of before, this shadow that you speak of. But the combination of both satyr features and these red eyes, perhaps there is some form of Xenagos trying to communicate with you. Although the other tale of which you told from your vision of the Pool of Lith does seem more interesting in regards to the rest of what we had been talking about.
Agreed. I apologize for taking a different route, but like you said, I believe um, in my mind the forge being attacked in the vision by what I would assume would be a portrayal of Mogus and of Ferica. It brings me a feeling of fear, and I hope to get to the bottom of this to maybe assist in the dismantling of this feud. As you know, one of my charges as a champion of Crufix is to like mediate in major disputes and whatnot.
There is no greater dispute than one amongst the gods, I guess. The interesting thing of the story that I, again, feel ties more to our current situation. Well, I am interested in hearing what comes of this shadow of yours. I just don't have any information to impart on you here. But again, with the teachings of Clothis and the longer time in which her and Crufix have been around, their effect on the Pantheon and Nyx has been greater than some of the gods currently. It is something that is unfortunate and also dangerous that Perforos has often drawn the short straw when it comes to the punishments of Crufix. Both having the knowledge taken from them for how to create weapons that could harm gods in punishment for having created one and given it to a mortal and then causing a conflict that tore open the sky of Nyx. The heavy hand of Crufix, let's say, may have taken more than just the knowledge of how to create weapons fit for divine beings. And over the course of other myth and legend, Crufix has been often sought to be deposed by the god Heliod in some effort to place himself, Heliod, on top of the Pantheon. Again, most of these issues coming to the conclusion where Heliod and Perforos are punished, but Perforos often loses much more, and
Perforos is like, what did I do?
the continued loss that he suffers both in knowledge taken from him as well as this vision of yours, this poisoning of an anvil by the fangs of a viper. If his being is threatened, there is a great danger that Perforos may die. There is an idea that Perforos may cease to be a god as people stop believing in their divine domains of the forge and crafts, and that might be tied to some of the issues that we've been having here in Akros. And as those build up over time, should Perforos cease to be a god or die, we again could be facing a large problem.
With all this being said, do we think that Perforos is lashing out sort of involuntarily then?
I
That
think that's a good idea. He may not be wrathful right now. He may just be losing the ability to control.
Have there been tales of a god being healed before?
I have heard many different tales, the unfortunate nature of which being Farrakha, the primary antagonist that seems to be heading these stories, is both the god of affliction and medicine. So the stories
do
of
we
medicine that could heal gods is coming from the same group that spreads these diseases and poisons and dangerous things.
do we have an idea as to why she might be doing these things? Why kill Perforos? What does that gain Farrakha?
There is a slight aspect to consider here is Farrakha's chaotic nature. Often, tales of Farrakha's come in the form of creating poisons and plagues and diseases specifically for there to be cures found or to see how bad or how virulent the infection or affliction can be. Farrakha views the world as a petri dish.
We
Which
know
we
what petri
have.
dishes are. What a weird analogy.
Yes, well, a playground, some may say, for her experiments.
Huh. So
It's,
just gonna
petri
fucking end
dishes
the
were made
world
in
on a whim,
Meletus.
huh?
She may not have understood the potency of what she created, and in the chaos of the siege of Akros and Xenagos attempting to ascend to godhood, a careless mistake may have resulted in the spreading of a very powerful poison.
I've got something to say to that, but also I just like the idea that she's like, "Hey, Perforos, wasn't that a funny joke, huh? Huh? Perforos?"
Like, stop! I'm
And he's just like
dying.
the like the Family Guy death pose just on the ground. But Athens like that raises an interesting point regarding what I said about the death of Anax. He was wounded by some maligned weapon that infected him. It poisoned him. You know, we believe that the death blow itself wasn't fatal, but it was the sickness that brought with it into his body. Perhaps we inadvertently carried that to Perforos when he went to Mount Velis seeking aid.
It's possible. It was this.
This is all just one big misunderstanding. Also, if that's the case, why did she give someone god-killing poison and then stab our king? It seems like kind of overkill.
I'm interested in such a thing as well. I am not quite sure what the nature of this experiment might be, but there are poisons in the world that are curable by medicines and herbs and various anti venoms, toxins, whatever, that can get rid of them. And holy magics as well have been known to remove various poisons. It's the first time in this conversation I said it, and I'm proud of myself.
Oh yeah, I didn't even catch it.
the ways in which you attempted to heal King Anax, did any of them? Obviously, they didn't work out, right?
Right, I assume we like tried like the normal stuff when he was brought to the colophon, and then like that
Yeah.
didn't go anywhere. So
Per-
yeah, no, like all of our normal healing was fruitless. It's why we were desperate to seek um, favor from Perforos. We had believed that the sickness was in part due to Perforos's anger. We were not yet aware of Farrakha's involvement.
Indeed, some part of this does seem as if whatever this poison was, or whatever it was that afflicted the king, might have been something not specifically designed to hurt gods, but something designed to rather afflict the soul rather than the body, the essence of people who. The connection we all sort of share to Nyx. A more potent poison against enemies in the mortal world that was accidentally spread and now afflicts one of the beings who lives in Nyx.
Yeah, it does sound bad. It's a bad combo. Well, I think we have a couple different paths ahead of us. Seeking out remedy, maybe seeking audience with Farrakha. Um, I still do believe that we need to find the man who is alleged to be the reforged King Anax terrorizing the Cathakathon Mountains, and if not reason with him, then stop his horrible destruction of everything. Maybe I don't. Was there? Those are my two main ideas. I guess check and see if Flage is still tied up. I don't know. I guess maybe see if like Perforos is doing all right. I don't think he is.
It does not seem like he would be.
Do you guys have ideas to keep Draki? Draki, you've been kind of silent through all this.
I'm very tired, and this is a lot of lore, so I'm trying to keep up.
Sorry.
Honestly, there's a lot of names, and they all start with P, and I'm just like, fucking a.
I think the biggest thing we should do is kind of review together our stories and cross reference to see if we maybe missed anything about healing of diseases, but also I think we need to go find the king incarnate or whoever is wreaking havoc, and maybe they'll be able to provide us with some answers if we're able to subdue them.
Yeah, I think like we definitely need to get face to face with this creature, whoever they ultimately are, and either maybe try and cure them, or like I said, like take them out so they stop murdering civilians.
Yeah, them is okay. We just saw it.
Does
Athen does have like other questions that are less world-ending in nature for Terranica, though he doesn't quite know if this is the time or place. I guess he would say like, there's much to discuss. We might need to reconvene. I would look forward to another audience with you, maybe in more of a less formal capacity.
Is there a time or place in which you would want to convene?
I guess, I mean, we could. like I'm not busy, you know, like I
You
got
do have
time.
some time before the games.
I do think
Right.
the things to keep in mind for the order of business, in the sense of what it is that you should likely follow up on, is again make sure whatever this business with Ignakshi is ended. With the
I agree. And Ignakshi might have more information that will point us in a better direction for the rest of it. Eh, am I to understand as Athen that like the sewers are a place I can just get into?
they are, there's not like a ton of them throughout the city, or the
Good, that'll narrow
polis.
the search.
The Colophon grounds are essentially like one of the more modernized areas of the polis to have like plumbing or a sewer.
Okay, I guess you would ask like, would he be allowed free reign to like investigate and retrace his steps?
Yes, I will not have any Crowan soldier hamper your search here.
Okay.
Then, if you do pursue some form of conversation with Farrakha or her followers, I do think that is a decent idea, as uh, if the myths hold any truth, for any affliction she creates, there is a cure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um. Okay.
I would enjoy exploring more of that and getting to the bottom of this.
Yeah. I mean, Athen would appreciate your help dealing with Ignakshi.
It's
What was our
likely.
timeline towards the games?
Um,
We still have a couple days at most,
yeah,
right?
so you
Or at
came
least.
to Kia's cottage on like the 4th day of the month.
And it's like the last week, right?
Right. You've slept 3 times since then, so I think you're
Mhm.
coming to the end of the first 10 day of the year, or of the month.
Okay. So we have like 2.5, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plenty of time to go searching for Ignashi.
Yeah. My conversation with Terranica can wait then for a bit. He doesn't need to speak to her right now about that stuff.
Let's go find Ignacio.
Ignacio.
Find this fiery woman. Yeah, I think that's all that Athen has to say at this moment. Then.
Okay. Terranica does thank you. And again, if there is some need to meet in a more private capacity, we can arrange that. Either come back here and let me know, or if you can pass the message along.
Yeah. And please, if you need anything, don't hesitate to call upon me. I will still faithfully serve the city of Akros and its people.
It is good to hear. It is an impressive feat of loyalty that your vows survive even death itself.
I like to believe that that is what allowed me to survive death. And with that, I will bid you farewell.
So we can go ahead and call it there if we want. I didn't know if you guys wanted to discuss any more between yourselves, but before we
I
get
think we
started
should
on
still
anything
talk.
else.
I
Yeah.
think we should still talk between ourselves.
Hmm.
I just don't really know if I have anything else to say to Tara and Nika.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just kind of as you guys leave the colophon is where that conversation.
So we're trying to
Is-
find the fire speaker lady because we think she may have killed the queen.
We think she killed the queen. She was with the king when he went to see Perforos, and like she must have some information about what happened to King Anax. Why is he this horrible monster terrorizing the countryside? Maybe she knows more about what happened to Perforos and why he's going crazy now. Like I feel like she has a lot of insight. Also, she's a murderous bitch, and I want to kill her.
Yeah.
Did she have a possible role in your death as well, or?
Well, I mean, seeing as I went to hunt her and then ended up in the underworld, I would say it's pretty likely.
Okay, I was making sure I heard that right earlier.
Yeah. I chased
Um,
after her, woke up dead.
Yep.
I just went
Oh,
to
she's
sleep.
gonna be very surprised to see you.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah, I'm curious if like you being stopped was because you weren't equipped and I was in the middle of searching for answers, and our friend Draki is. I mean, his was probably the most just pulled out of it, but it seems like he has abilities that we may need um, to further our quest and get to the end of this
It does
madness.
seem like we might want to shop around for some
Some
fire
magic fire
resistant.
items.
Well, I don't think fire is going to hurt the people who have fire, but we could do with something that protects us from being hurt by fire if that last fight is anything to go by.
Well, you know
True.
what's hotter than fire?
Ice
The
cold?
sun.
Oh.
The
Heat.
sun.
Lightning?
And I have the blessings from the sun. Not that that means anything.
I mean, no, your bolts of light are one of our greatest weapons against these creatures so far. So like, it's
And
really
the
good to
magical
have.
fists.
Right.
Very unique. But I do believe some fire potions or resistant potions, if they do exist, would be very, very appreciated and helpful for this upcoming possible battle.
I can
From the
imagine that
sounds of it, it
everyone's
sounds like
looking
we're
for them.
throwing hands. There's a lot of fire going on, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's just on fire.
World on fire. Life on fire. King on fire. Queen was on fire.
Believe it or not, fire.
My wife was burning in the underworld.
Ugh.
Well, I guess we have our plan forward. I'm also feeling the mental strain of a new job, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
mushed out mentally. So
Yeah, no, I was planning on that being sort of the closing, wrapping
Mhm.
up.
Closing
hell yeah,
statements.
we're gonna save a king and save some gods.
Let's do it.
Or you can let the world burn down. No?
No,
Didn't get a
Honestly,
resounding
though,
cheer for
yeah,
that one.
let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto that one.
It's fair. Is antithetical to heroes.
Glad I wasn't the only one who didn't understand what he said.
Antithetical to heroes?
Yeah.
oh,
It's,
is he
it's the opposite
cutting
of
out?
what
Oh,
heroes are known to
Oh.
do. It's just give up and let the world burn.
Yeah, let's
oh,
just go find somewhere else to exist. This place is all fucked.
That's what we did in the Worms campaign.
Fuck her right in the pussy.